So it's been a busy week. The sample pack's finally live. Finishing off that sample pack, as well as setting up a Shopify store, as well as finalizing my first podcast as part of my company Shakeworks. Doing all of that in 1 week was probably something that I won't do again, but it's done and I'm proud about that. And it's got me thinking a lot about my time. It's funny speaking to family and friends and people say, oh yeah, running a business must be hard. And my response is, it feels like I'm running a full-time business on part-time hours. And I found myself saying that quite a few times. So I thought to myself that I need to break that down a bit more about what that means, what I'm doing, what some of the good points are, and what some of like the bad points and drawbacks are, based on how I'm choosing to spend my time. So this is really just talking about time management as a creative, specifically what I'm doing and how I'm approaching running my business currently. So just looking at because at the moment this spreadsheet is my life of keeping me organized. So my first thing, what I like to do a lot of, is blocking out time periods of when I'm working and what I'm doing during that time. So going back to that phrase I've been saying to people of running a full-time business on part-time hours, my week looks like this. In terms of being able to spend a full typical working day on my business, I've got Mondays, Thursdays and Fridays. And on those days I get about, say, 7 hours in. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'm full-time with my little girl while my partner's out working. So those days, not during the day, by squeezing things when she's having a daytime nap for 2 hours and in the morning when I wake up at 6. So I get 6 until 8 in the morning before she wakes up. And then Saturday and Sunday, I get 4 hours in. Basically 2 hours in the morning before my daughter and my partner wake up, 6 a.m. until 8 a.m. So during that time, it's doing a few admin bits or maybe just practicing my bass. So breaking down of the typical hours that I've got 33 hours of working on my business, and I've blocked out those particular periods of time. So not the full-time days, but the other days when I typically have either 6 until 8, maybe 3 until 5 of when my daughter's asleep. And occasionally there's additional hours if I need to push through and I don't want to, because I'm thinking of, I can't burn the candle at both ends. 9:30 until 11:30 in the evening when everybody's awake, when I try and do a few more things. And I have particular blocks on this where I show that this is the time period and this is what I'm doing in that time period. So it's a to-do list with a specific period of time of when I'm doing a specific task. A good point with this is that when I sit down to work, I'm heading straight to work. I'm not thinking, do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? It's just bang, I'm straight in and I'm cracking on, which is good. The bad side of that is that it's not that flexible, is that as new things come up, which I'm starting to notice now that I'm selling products out in the world, is that I need to rejig priorities. Because of course, if things come up, they're more often than not immediate. So with rejigging the priorities, I always rejig to what needs to happen now, what's most urgent. So therefore, some things which maybe are important, but not as urgent, constantly get pushed down the to-do list. And that could maybe impact on other things. So that's the trade-off of my time management system of having a to-do list, but then having a specific time slot about when I do that task. And that timetable just keeps me organized. It's, working to, I suppose, internal deadlines of my other sort of like commitments. I mean, when I'm working during the day, like say if it's a Tuesday when I'm with my daughter all day and she goes for a daytime nap, but she's sleeping 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. My countdown begins as I'm sat at my laptop and the baby monitor is on. And then I'm waiting for her just to go, and then that's it, time's up. So everything's to a deadline, just to make sure that I'm keeping things going and completing everything that needs to be done. The other part of my time management is how I'm doing video recording. If you're watching this, you'll see this. And if you're listening on the podcast, that's absolutely fine. I'll talk you through it. So my current recording process, I'm using a Logitech Brio webcam. I'm using an app to turn my smartphone into a webcam, but I'm not using the audio. I'm just plugging it in just to use the audio, sorry, and then I've got a lavalier mic plugged into it. And that's my current setup. And I'm on a MacBook Pro, and I'm just recording directly into QuickTime. Simple as that, and then just export it as a MP4. Now, I've had to do a bit of rejigging based on time management of this current video setup. So the good side to it is, like, what I'm doing now is that there's not really any editing. I'm challenging myself of when I'm doing video content, I just do it in one take. There's not editing, there's not takes. I just kind of put it all together, which is great because whatever's recorded, that's it. And the time it takes is how long the video takes, which is great. But what I'm finding is a potential downside as I'm thinking about wanting to make things the best they can be, is that I'm not too sure if maybe the lack of editing reduces the production quality, and maybe because there's not editing, that maybe the video, the content doesn't move along as quickly and isn't snappy. And then maybe some of you watching are thinking, okay, Paul, just get to the point, and maybe you trail off and click on something else. And you know, maybe that's happening because it's not capturing your attention and giving you something interesting and of value to you. It's not getting to the point. So I'm very much aware of that production quality, and I'm thinking about it quite a lot at the moment. But as it stands with my current constraints, I'm recording in this one take approach, and probably when money does allow it, I'll probably do my first upgrade in terms of getting a DSLR camera and upgrading in more lighting, even though I'm doing a lot more research about that. So I'll probably research and upgrade more on the camera side than the actual editing side, but that side will come. But currently that's what I'm doing to fulfill the needs of what I want to do in terms of putting out content, but doing it in a time friendly manner for how I work and what my schedule is. And another part of how I'm managing my time is being aware of my energy levels. That's just through experience of previous times I've been self-employed, as well as just working for other companies, in that I probably became a bit more aware of when I work best a few years ago, in that I've noticed that if I need to do like deep thinking tasks which require a lot of brain power, I'm better in the morning, probably up until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm really good at tasks I've got to think about then. And then anything after that, maybe low-level tasks in terms of brain power, maybe more collaborative, interpersonal things, meetings, just other form of collaboration. So I find splitting my time then works best with my personal energy levels. So I structure my time in the same way, in that, you know, my day always starts at 6 a.m. and with that I put that into the research and exploring side of things. So with that I put bass practice in there, because that is exploring my instrument. Or maybe if I'm learning about something, like right now on my to-do list, I need to learn more about YouTube Shorts, so YouTube Shorts and what that looks like. So I'm researching more about that. And deep thinking might be just working on a lot of content, 'cause I've got to think about that before I do it. And then things in the afternoon might be just, I don't know, analytics, looking through analytics, or checking my keywords on YouTube and things like that. So the good side of that is that I'm very aware of what personally works for me in terms of being the most productive. The bad side, I'm not too sure if it's a bad side, but there are limitations to it, in that I noticed last week when I was trying to push through to get everything live, in that I needed to push through to do some of the deep thinking late at night because I was running behind. And with that I was very conscious of, am I giving my best, because I'm really tired. I'm not too sure how great I'm doing, but I need to get it done. So there are limitations if priorities need to be shifted, and I need to do a particular type of task at a time of day which naturally I'm not my sharpest. But that's what works for me. I'm aware of that limitation. And then the other side of how I'm managing my time is batch creation of content. So with that, I'm focusing primarily on sample packs, and I'm also being hired as a content creator for a really cool music platform called Donna Music, which has got a great online community, and I'm creating online content for their platform just around learning music, bass, hip hop, jazz and things like this. So what I find So with Donna Music, this company, I create content for the week. And with the sample packs, I've tried to be a couple of months ahead. So there's one out at the moment, and I've created another one which will be released in March. So I'm a month ahead of myself. And I find getting ahead of myself of batch creating content like that helps. It's a good thing as it removes the anxiety of meeting ongoing deadlines, because that is an anxiety when you're like, I need to keep things going. I've got nothing I've got to make. So that can be quite anxiety inducing, and batch creating just removes that. So that's a really, really good thing. But I also think there's a drawback to it as well, in that I think it's nice to be able to respond to feedback of what people are saying. And if you've batch created, it's set and you can't quickly adjust. If you want to adjust, you basically need to create something else, which goes back to creating to a deadline because you've got nothing to show to the world yet. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag, and it's a video I've wanted to make a long time. And for those listening, I hope you found that interesting, because I think time management between the creative side and admin and meetings and strategy, there's so many things to think about. And yeah, juggling all of those things, I consider myself a person which is quite organised. I can juggle a wide variety of things. I think I'm good at that. Just with my working life has helped develop that skill. But this is just taking it to another level, really. And it's just worth thinking of clear strategies just to make sure everything gets done, and just to track my progress as well, as opposed to just keep going and get a sense of what's getting done and where am I up to. So that's where my mind is at this week. Next week I'll see where I'm up to. Not too sure, but I hope you found it interesting. And if you found this interesting, useful, it'd be great if you could share some of your thoughts around your time management strategies, about how you get everything done. As it'd be great to sort of like hear them, or just your thoughts on what I've been doing. Maybe there's good points and bad points that you've noticed, and any feedback on that would be really cool to hear. So thanks for taking the time with this, and I'll look forward to speaking to you again soon. Take care.